Hello everyone, my name is Cameron. Welcome along to another video where today I'm trying something new and adding in a voice track to my video. I would also like to point out that I am using my laptop's microphone. It's probably pretty obvious based on the voice quality, but if I end up liking the idea of a voice track in my videos, I'll certainly invest in something better to record on in the future. So starting out today I was full of confidence, but not overconfident since I'm still flying around in normal mode. As soon as I took off, I went for my first obstacle, being that soccer goal post. I'm still not confident enough to cruise around in anything other than normal mode at this point, so I'm just getting my bearings, practicing some easy turns, trying to coordinate roll and yaw. This video covers my third day out in the real world, flying the DJI FPV. The area I'm flying around is called Hillcrest Stadium Park in Hamilton, and I chose this location because it has a nice racetrack pattern around the outside, as well as some open grassy areas that are normally people free. This is actually the first time I've flown in this area, and I knew there was a nice grass area in the middle with a velodrome around the outside, but that was pretty much it. I did notice a bit of grass off to the side and did a bit of exploring. I had, no real idea that there was this sort of big area here, as you can see. So this could become useful if the main area ends up getting too busy later on in the day. Once I get my bearings a bit, I try splitting a smaller gap. Need to check both ways before crossing, then line it up, and off I went. Didn't end up being too hard. I do a bit of a circuit, and then try come back in. At this stage I'm still not smooth or confident enough just to wing it and go straight through obstacles, but over time I'm sure I will get better. Now, once through, I check the area out again to make sure no one is around. As you can see, there's a small bike park or bike track off to the side, so I wanted to make sure that I'm not annoying anyone. This time I get a bit more speed up and line up from a distance and head straight on through. On my way back, I can hear some people on bikes. I wasn't too sure about how close I was, so playing it safe, I just stopped, kept an eye out, and made sure they were continuing on past and not actually entering into the velodrome track. So you can see there a couple of people just heading past. So seeing as no one was using the track around the outside, I thought I'd practice going a bit faster and trying to fly a consistent line using a ground reference. I'm still in normal mode though, so approaching this turn with the rising ground, the safety features kicked in and brought me to a stop. A little bit annoying, but the system works at least. Trying to fly around the track in normal mode isn't going to work, so I head back into the middle, hit another goal, and think about changing to sport mode. Now, I wanted to set up a new home point just in case I needed it, since my current one was under the tree that I'm sitting under, and I didn't think that would work out too well if I actually needed to rely on the return to home function. So I land, try line up on the line, not quite on centre line, and once I get airborne again, I change over into sport mode. As you can see, now I can fly around the track a lot quicker and a lot closer to obstacles. Of course, in this mode there is no obstacle avoidance, and you can see just here I got a little bit too close for comfort to the railing along the side, ended up powering up. A friend of mine also, who was watching me, wanted to cycle around the track to get up close and personal, and you can see him go past just there. So I break off from the racetrack full of confidence. I'm like, okay, sweet, this sport mode isn't too hard. Let's go straight for another goal. And as you can see, I almost crash into the side. So yeah, I need to slow it down a little bit. It's very easy to get too excited and hooked on the adrenaline and get in the mindset that it is just a game. It's like one of those virtual reality flight sim games or something like that. But of course, there's no reset if I crash. So I practice some more goal scoring and general coordination and just spend more time in sport mode to build up that confidence. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll be able to tell that I'm brand new to drone flying and video editing. In fact, if you're watching this video right now, you'll be able to tell that. But over time, I'm hoping to improve on both of these. I can only get better from here, right? Now, I've got 3 batteries. I ended up buying the Fly More kit, and this allows me to fly for around 45 minutes total if I'm in normal mode. Plus I've got a charger in the car, which pretty much allows me to fly non-stop, which is awesome. But flying continuously does make me lose a bit of focus after a while and lose concentration. So you can see my turns around that last goalpost there started to get a bit out of control and a bit nauseating. Before starting this video, I did go and have a chat to the people that were around to let them know what I was doing, as the rules here in New Zealand are quite strict with regards to flying or recording around other people. For my job, I am a pilot and I don't want to risk losing that over breaking a drone law or rule, hence my cautious conservative nature when it comes to other people. I spend the next few minutes flying around in sport mode, taking it relatively easy. I'm not going full throttle or full steam ahead. I'm just trying to work on being smooth and in control. I really enjoy the low flying at high speed with the goggles on. It feels like I'm inside the drone itself, or actually flying an aircraft. So I go check this tree out, and man, that's a bit of foreshadowing of things to come, but more on this later, as you'll see. I'm still fairly indecisive is probably the right word when it comes to obstacles, but being my 3rd time out, I'm not too bothered. Like right there, I should have just tried to go for it, but also being the 3rd time out, like I don't really want to risk my drone just yet. After a few more sort of failed attempts at being smooth, I head off and go explore this area off to the side some more. I find it amazing how far I can fly away and still have full control and connectivity to the drone. It's also amazing at just how fast I can put distance between me and the drone. In sport mode, which is the mode I'm currently flying in, for those of you who don't know, you can fly up to 100 kilometers an hour. You can tell that I'm in sport mode because I fly straight into the rising ground, and luckily I don't crash, but yeah. no obstacle avoidance there. So as I head out, I spot a few more people using the track, so I decide to leave them in peace for a bit. If any of you haven't heard an FPV in the wild before, it's pretty loud and sounds quite aggressive. Once the coast is clear though, I'd go do a perimeter sweep and confidently hit a goal in sport mode. Now I didn't realise it at the time, but there was another whole area to go flying in just off the end here. So flying under these branches, there's a more secluded area where I doubt anyone would ever go, so that's good to know for future busy times. Almost as soon as I found this new spot, a kid who had been watching me for a while decided to stop and chat, so I brought the drone home. It's actually pretty complicated trying to talk to somebody who's sitting next to you while your vision is off somewhere else. I bring the drone in and hover it around. He has a bit of a look at it before I land it, and then I hook my iPad up and show him the live feed of what I'm seeing in the goggles. Once airborne, I go into the center of the track to reset the home point again, just before doing some general flying. Most of this stuff wasn't too exciting, but as with most people who have never seen the sort of technology or this drone before, they are pretty impressed with the whole setup, and to be fair, I'm still impressed by it, so yeah, that's pretty cool. I end up bringing it back with a bit of speed and use the panic button or the emergency brake to bring it to pretty much an instant stop. It makes an impressive sound when doing this and looks pretty cool as well, so a nice little trick to show him. So of course, with the kid watching and feeling pretty good about myself, being sufficiently warmed up and comfortable and confident in sport mode, it's time to go fly near some trees, and it's over. Panic sets in. That was the last thing I saw before losing my feed, and as you can see, the drone is amazingly still alive, but about half an hour has actually passed since now and that last shot of the tree. As it turned out, I hit the side of the tree and then fell to the ground, hitting a lot of leafy branches as it fell. So one of the first things I did was to put it back into normal mode with my tail between my legs and go check out the offending culprit. So I do a bit of an orbit, have a look around, and yeah, I think it was about there where I hit the side. So as you can see, it's a pretty leafy tree. It's not hardwood or anything, it's pretty flexible, but it is pretty high. Luckily for me though, as it fell down, it ended up landing in that hedge that you can see that's pretty much in the center of the shot now. So the drone itself didn't end up hitting the ground or anything like that, but it did get the battery knocked out of it, and the battery was just lying on the ground next to it. So I ended up collecting all my things and then setting up camp down here and hiding in my shame. Pretty much the only damage that was done was it was covered in dust, and there were a few leaves jammed around some of the LED light strips on the back. But that was it. Like, no propeller damage, nothing else was scratched or anything. It was pretty amazing. When I was actually flying it, after seeing that tree approaching quickly and then losing the feed, it was very hard to try and remain calm and hold myself together. I didn't want to give away that something had just gone horribly wrong, so I calmly packed up all my gear into the bag and then began about a 200-300 meter walk, jog, awkward thing over to where I hoped my intact drone would be. But at that point along the walk, my heart was absolutely pounding, and I'm just kicking myself for not taking it easy. And I'm pretty much expecting the worst. Like, after only 3 days, I've broken a very expensive toy, but somehow that wasn't the case. So, as you can see, I'm back in normal mode. I'm taking it very easy and pretty much just starting from scratch again with the confidence. At this point, I was still shaking a fair bit. When I first approached the tree, I ended up getting confused about what tree I'd actually flown into, and so I spent about 10 minutes looking up the wrong tree, trying to see if the drone was still stuck at the top and walking around the bottom and figuring out if I was going to have to climb up it or call somebody to come get it. I didn't really have a plan. I was just more panicking and thinking of the what ifs, but luckily I ended up going to another tree and finding out that it had actually fallen onto the hedge, so massive sigh of relief. I spent a bit more time flying around some more safer areas, and upon flying back, I think this time I'm coming back to change to another battery, and coming in and flying in like I am here, I end up losing my orientation and nearly fall over. It's actually quite disorientating while flying and standing up. I did end up going into sport mode again, and you'd think I'd learned my lesson after last time and avoid trees, but as you can see, I just fly straight over this and just barely cross those trees. I did end up hitting a small little leafy branch or something, but luckily for me, it managed to carry on flying and not do any damage or anything like that. So obviously still need a bit of practice and just need to slow things down. So I spend the next wee while just spending time in sport mode and basically getting some time practicing that coordination and keeping clear of obstacles. This part of the video gets a bit repetitive, so I've sped the footage up, but basically I head back into the main area and just try some smooth turns while holding some speed, as opposed to just sort of flying up and down, stopping at the end of a run, doing a 180-degree yaw, and then speeding on back down to the other end. I start getting a little bored of doing the same thing over and over, so I set up a small figure 8 pattern using my bag and myself. Again, the goal here isn't to do anything fancy or make any cool footage. I'm just trying to coordinate some smooth flying and link turns together. I practice a bit of an orbit and then head over for a final flight around before calling it a day and heading home to recharge my personal batteries as well as the drones. So that's pretty much everything for today's video. Thanks for watching. My aim is to try and get out once a week to continue a path of improvement with both my flying and video editing. I do have some more exciting locations coming up, so it's not all just going to be flat green fields where I'm flying up and down. So yeah, watch this space. Thanks once again, and I'll see you next time.